Dr. Kyle, a brilliant but conflicted geneticist, stood in the dimly lit lab, staring at the massive containment chamber. The project, codenamed Titan, was supposed to be his magnum opus, a genetically engineered soldier designed for precision, intelligence, and strength. But as the creature stirred within the chamber, Kyle felt a pang of dread. Something had gone terribly wrong. The test results had shown anomalies, but he had been pressured by his superiors to move forward. Now, the consequences were becoming all too real. Jacob, a grizzled security officer, entered the lab, his eyes scanning the room warily. "Kyle, we've got a problem," he said, his voice low. "The facility's gone into lockdown. Whatever's in that chamber, it's awake." Kyle's heart sank. The creature was not just awake, it was aware. The lab's sensors blinked red, indicating that the containment protocols had failed. "We need to get out of here," Kyle said, his voice shaking with urgency. He quickly began gathering his research data, hoping to find some way to reverse the effects of the experiment. Suddenly, the lights flickered and the alarm blared through the facility. The creature, now fully conscious, smashed through the containment glass with a force that sent shivers down Kyle's spine. It was massive, muscular, and had an unnerving intelligence in its eyes, a predator that was more than human. Mackenzie, a lab technician, ran into the room, her face pale with fear. "Dr. Kyle, the creature's breached the lower levels. It's hunting us." Kyle's mind raced as he realized the gravity of the situation. This was not just a failed experiment, it was a disaster of unimaginable proportions. He needed to find a way to stop it before it could escape the facility. "Mackenzie, get to the control room. We need to override the lockdown and find a way out." Teresa, a resourceful engineer, burst in next, carrying a makeshift weapon fashioned from lab equipment. "We can't just run. That thing will tear us apart," she said, determination in her eyes. "We need to trap it." As the group made their way through the labyrinthine corridors of the facility, the creature stalked them, its movements eerily calculated. They could hear it in the walls, its heavy breathing and the scrape of its claws echoing in the distance. Each step they took was filled with tension, knowing the predator could strike at any moment. In the control room, Mackenzie frantically worked the controls, trying to open an escape route. "I've got it! The emergency hatch in Sector 4 is still operational," she called out, her hands trembling. But just as she spoke, the creature smashed through the wall, its eyes locking onto her. Kyle, driven by desperation, lunged at the creature with a syringe filled with a hastily prepared sedative. But the creature was too fast, knocking him aside with a powerful swipe. Teresa and Jacob fought valiantly, trying to hold it off, but it was clear they were outmatched. In a last-ditch effort, Mackenzie activated the facility's self-destruct sequence. "We're not getting out of here alive if this thing escapes," she said, her voice trembling but resolute. The countdown began, and the facility shook with the force of the impending explosion. With seconds to spare, the group made a dash for the emergency hatch. The creature, sensing its impending doom, roared in fury and charged at them. Kyle, injured but determined, managed to activate the hatch, and the group scrambled through just as the explosion rocked the facility. Outside, they collapsed onto the ground, breathing heavily, covered in dust and debris. The facility was gone, reduced to rubble. But as they caught their breath, Kyle couldn't shake the feeling that the experiment wasn't truly over. The creature had been designed to survive anything, even this, and somewhere in the wreckage, it might still be alive. As the sun rose, casting a cold light over the ruins, the survivors knew that they had only narrowly escaped with their lives. But the shadow of Titan would haunt them forever, a reminder of the dangers of tampering with nature's design. Don't forget to subscribe.